Welcome back to the morning show, right here on Rise News, and we're going straight to it as well this morning.
Yes, we're changing the conversation at this time. On October 16, every year, the world celebrates World Food Day. This year's theme, Our Actions Are Our Future, is directed towards amplifying the message of achieving zero hunger by 2030.
The United Nations World Food Day is a day of action dedicated to tackling global hunger, a vision with the small-scale women farmers organization in Nigeria, SWOFON, a coalition of women farmers association and groups across Nigeria. And it's in tandem with this by striving to advocate and support women farmers, especially those in rural areas, to support rural village economic development, increase food production through capacity building of smallholder women farmers, to demand for their rights and privileges from the duty bearers, while serving as a vocal and visible pressure group on behalf of smallholder farmers in Nigeria.
In today's world of plenty, it is believed that 1 person in 9 does not have enough to eat. Here in Nigeria, as inflation increases, so does food price rise. And the federal government continues to close the Benin-Nigeria border in order to improve internal production of food in the country, a decision that is currently generating criticism.
Well, before our guest joins us, guys, this is coming at a time when the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development had just made a statement. He talked about hunger not being in the land anymore, and also comes at a time when Nigeria has closed her borders. Initially it was partial, but just yesterday we got reports it's now total. All imports and exports should be done through the sea and the airports.
A lot of people have been kicking against this. Look at the inflation rates that came out recently from... It went back to February levels. February levels about 11.29. Now it's going back to 11.24 from a gain of 11.02. Price have skyrocketed. Price of rice, for instance, has skyrocketed over 69%. Price of other commodities have skyrocketed to over 111%. We have seen the direct effect. Couple of months border closage, we see that we don't have food sustainability in this country. We don't have silos. Nigeria can last a whole month. It's beginning to show. And what the minister said yesterday, when people gone blazing, you know, they were riled up. That how can you say that?
You know, it's interesting that we just had a conversation about national security, because we know that a lot more of our food comes from the north, and because we're having these challenges, we'll still continue to have challenges in food security.
And let's bring in our guest now. Joining us from our Abuja studios is Hannatu Soni, National Executive Committee member, Small Scale Women Farmers Organization in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Let me begin by asking you, as we also observe the World Food Day, has Nigeria reached food sufficiency? Is she now producing enough to feed herself? And do you agree with the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development that says there's no more hunger in the land?
Thank you so much for that question. Today, the whole world is celebrating World Food Day. The theme, as it is, our action, our future. Healthy diet for a zero hunger world, which is the SDG 2. Our action is our future. The question is, have we really acted to get food sufficiency in our country? We have a long way to go. As a small-scale holder woman farmer who lives in the rural area where the food is being produced, I have to tell you that with the growing population, much needs to be done to get food sufficiency. In the rural areas, you find out the women who grow about 70% of this food don't have the support they require to grow this food. They have a lot of challenges. So it is not yet a time to say there is sufficient food in the country. because you need to go to the grassroots. You need to go to the rural area. Hear from the communities. They will tell you there is still hunger in this country. We need to work harder to get food.
So what you're saying is it that the minister has not spoken to these people? Because the minister said otherwise yesterday. The minister said everything is all nice and well. And this was also on the heels of the fact that the borders have been closed permanently, and this has really, affected food prices. Food prices have gone up to 69%. But the minister is saying we just need to harmonize what we have internally. So is it that the minister is not aware of the plight of smallholder farmers? I don't understand what is happening. Make me understand it.
Some of us in the urban area, living in the urban area, cannot say much about what is happening in the rural area. You have the money to go to the market to buy. But down in the rural area, the people who are producing this food hardly get sufficient to feed. And it is out of the small they are producing that they have to take care of the family. So where do you get enough to sell to feed the nation? Most of the major commercial farmers, either they export or they take it to the companies. We need food on our table. And most of this food is being produced by the smallholder farmers, mostly women. If you go down to the grassroots and ask, especially the women, they will tell you what they produce is not 100% theirs, because they don't have the resources. Some of them go out to borrow from the community with high interest, which they pay back at the end and have little to feed the family. So closing the border may help the farmer, but I am telling you the fact, it is not yet ready, because we need the resources to increase increase the yields, increase the produce we are having. The small-scale woman farmer needs gender-friendly implements to increase her yield. She needs quality inputs, which she is hardly getting. So you find out she is recycling her seed, recycling her grains as seed. So with the seed she is using, which is grain, she can hardly produce enough. You find out the small-scale woman farmer hardly owns a land. So with the small portion she has, even if she wants to expand, she is limited.
Okay, Mrs.
If she is opportune to be given a land, if she's opportune to be given a land, you find that they are either giving her a forest to clear, or they are giving her an overused land. After she has suffered on it, then they will tell her to move.
Okay,
they want to use the area, or the children want to use the area. So she will be allocated to another place.
Okay, Mrs. Soni.
So we have a lot of challenges to produce more in this country. We need to handle those issues first before we say we have sufficient food.
Okay, Mrs. Soni, talking about gender-friendly implements, it's still a very known phenomenon that land rights for women is still a huge challenge. We have women getting the bulk of the bad land, and also it's still a very gender-sensitive case when it comes to time to get those lands, or when the lands are being allocated. What's being done by SWOFON to make sure that the women who are the actual farmers, who are the ones bringing in a huge bulk of the food for the nation, are getting the adequate lands that they need to produce better crops?
SWOFON had been advocating for land from the Federal Ministry of Agri and the state's ministries. If only will be allocated lands in our various communities where we can grow food, it will help a long way. But not just allocating this land. Let's have the correct implements. Let's forget about this whole issue that our forefathers had been using for years. Let's also try the mechanized farming, even if it is in a small way. There are simple mechanized, simple machines that can be used to increase the productivity of the farmer. We have this simple hand tiller, which can be used to cultivate. You can attach so many implements to it. You can attach planter to it. You can attach cultivator. You can attach even sprayer. You can attach fertilizer applicator. So if we have simple things like this, which I believe can be fabricated in this country because we have people who are good fabricators and they have the innovation, this will help the woman to increase her yield. So the land issue we have been advocating for.
Okay, before we go to this quick break, I just wanted to talk about the yield. What is your take on the conversation of GMOs as regards yield? A lot of people are saying GMO is a silver bullet. We'll come back after this break and talk about yield vis-a-vis conversation on GMO, genetically modified crops. All right, exciting conversations here. We're still talking to Mrs. Hannatu Soni, representing the smallholder farmers in Nigeria. And we're talking about crop yield. You said it's something very important, but still some of your members are saying these high-yielding crops are GMO crops. I mean, what do you have to say about that conversation? Some of your members are still kicking against this.
We have high-yielding crops that we can make sure it reaches the farmers. The issue of GMO, that is genetically modified organism seeds. Most women in the rural areas don't know what is GMO. From the capacity building we have received, we are able to understand GMOs are seeds that are genetically modified. They are not grown like the seeds we have in this country. They are not resilient. They are seeds that once you grow it, you will not be able to grow, to plant it again. If you dare do that, you are harvesting little or nothing. What the rural woman wants is something that will help her. We need seeds that will, we can also grow these seeds. Let it be resilient to our own climate here. Let these seeds be adaptable. Let it be adaptable to our climate. If we say we are going to continue on GMO, it will one day have effects on not only us, but our children. So anything that is not naturally prepared or produced, definitely, if there's anything that is unnatural about it, it will come out with a negative consequence. So we are afraid it may affect our family.
Okay, it's definitely an ongoing conversation. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations just released a report some days ago, and it says 14% of the world's food is lost after harvesting. I just want you to paint a picture. Tell us how much of a challenge is that in Nigeria, losing your yields after harvesting. How can we begin to curb that? Because we're talking about zero hunger in 2030, and wastage is a way to curb it. But first, paint a picture for us. How difficult is this for the rural farmer woman?
UN is so concerned about the rural farmer. So they are trying as much as possible to see that we fight against wasting food wastage. Post-harvest issues had been on for long. You will find out that from the yield of our produce, we only enjoy slightly above 50% after harvest or during harvest. So the 14% they are saying it will be even more than that. So post-harvest wastage, either in dry crops or in fresh ones, are really setting the farmer backward. If we don't fight against this wastage, then the little we produce, we cannot utilize most part of it. So now the government has to come in to support the farmer, work out how to mitigate or to combat this post-harvest and during harvest wastage, especially the vegetables and the raw crops and the fruits, which are very important to the human person, to the diets we are taking.
Okay.
If we don't take care of it.
Okay, I just wanted to add this to it. How has insecurity in the north affected production capacity of the rural woman?
Insecurity had been a very serious thing, especially in the north. The north is now, no matter how it is, the woman wants to go to the farm, she cannot. If her farm is not close to her house, she cannot go far away to farm because of the insecurity. And this thing has extended down towards the north central. Personally, where my farm is in the bush, because you cannot get a reasonable size of land near your house. You have to go further away. Last year, I had to be one to keep off my farm. Because I kept off my farm for some time, the farm was destroyed by army worms. Before I knew it, it was too late. Even after applying the pesticide, I still lost almost half of the farm. So you find out those that can go to the farm are afraid at a certain time to go and take care of their farms or to get their produce back. Most of the farmers, especially the women, truly cannot go to the farm as alone. And most of the women who are widows don't have even men to escort them. Even those that have their husbands are busy. They cannot escort them to the farm. So you find out production definitely drops. If 10 women were producing the previous years, and then 5 women cannot go to the farm because of insecurity, how do we produce to secure food for the country? How do we contribute to food insecurity in this country? So we need truly to be protected even on our farm. I know there used to be what we call the farm, what do you call them? Vengers. Is it the farm?
Like vigilantes, local security?
There used to be forest people that used to enter the farm. You call them rangers.
Forest rangers.
They used to be forest rangers. Yes. Where are they now? These forest rangers are normally people not far from the community. They know the in and out of this community. If there's any strange person in the community, they will be able to raise alarm. These people, where are they now? If they are there, are they equipped? These people, if they are there, they will help the farmers, but they are not. So truly, much has to be done for the woman to go to the farm, plant, harvest, and even feed the nation. So we need support when it comes to insecurity, because we are not feeling secured on our farm. For those that even have to go to the farm, those who cannot go, they have to find other means, which is not easy.
Okay, so earlier my colleague had spoken about GMOs. However, let's shift the conversation a bit to climate change. Real quickly before we go, are there new farming methods that are being introduced to these women farmers by SWOFON to help them deal with the climate change and rains and that we've been experiencing and floods we've been experiencing in Nigeria of late?
Because of the climate change, we had been building the capacity of our women to reduce cutting of trees. But there's a challenge there. Some of them, that is their source of livelihood. And most of the women in the village, if not all, use this firewood to cook for the family. Stopping them without any substitutes is not going to work. We cannot continue telling the women to stop cutting wood if they don't have any other means of cooking fuel. We had been advocating to the government to provide efficient.
Thank you so much, Hannatu Soni. One thing is definite here. We'll definitely still have you or your society association come back to talk to us, because the plight of the rural woman farmer cannot be ignored. That's our show for you today. It's been a great one. I'm Rufai Hosseini.
I'm Adesuwa Omorwan.
And I'm Shaitan Asigari. Thank you for watching.